Greetings, Summoners! Welcome to a PvP simulation. I had this idea for a video where we take our general understanding of the game and the combat mechanics and the commanders and the gear, and then we attack somebody, and by scouting the tile or knowing their gear, we kind of have a rough estimate of how the battle's going to go. And in most scenarios, you want to just win the fight without losing any troops, but in most cases, that's usually not an option, especially in a fair fight. And the best way to do this is just using Tier 2, right? Because Tier 2 simulates just like Tier 5 or Tier 7 in a fair fight. So I decided, I don't know what to call this idea, what this concept, maybe a war room simulation. I don't even want to throw any bad ideas out there. If you got an idea for it, put it in the comments below. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you my gear, I'm going to tell you my commander, my troops, my leadership, and then I'm going to tell you my opponent's gear, troop, commander, leadership, and army, and all that. And then based off all the information, we get to guess what's going to happen. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you my commander, and it's going to be Lucion. He is a level 39, which is important if you're trying to figure out first strike. He is a mage airship commander, so he has a natural advantage over walkers, but is weak to infantry. He has a level 3 Genesis helm for 20% dodge, and he's got a level 4 diamond earring for 44% dodge, and I lose a little accuracy and a little bit of crit. But overall, that's about 64% dodge. I also pick up a little bit of dodge there, 66%, and 6% defense, and another 3% HP, so that helps. But the big factor here is I got a Nibelung, which is 47% bonus damage to air, or mage, and another 31% damage and 15% crit. Big time damage. And of course, I don't have any accuracy there, so I'm totally relying on my 20% skill Zeal for accuracy. This is a guaranteed hit skill. Now, of course, this is early game, dodge meta's in, so I'm expecting to miss a lot, and I'm going to really count on this to land those hits, which I don't like to do, but that's where the game's at right now. I also have a 40% skill that's going to let me recover dead units, but it's only 8%, and I'm not going to get much value out of it at such a low level, but that is worth considering. I also don't have an S-class ability, so that's my commander. Now, my opponent is going to have a tile already claimed. Here is the scouting report. There we go. And he's got supposed to be 800 leadership, but he actually ended up losing troops when he attacked the tile. So he's actually down to about 600 leadership in the front row. So 30 times 20 is 600. He started with 800, so that's why he's got 800 leadership worth of troops in the back. So 200 Tier 2 infantries, or vanguards I think they're called, is 800. So I'm going to be attacking into this tile. He already has possession of it, so that means because his commander is equal to my or higher, he's level 45, so he's actually higher than my level 39, he will have first strike. Which is important, because if you're only using one slot bust meta and counting on awakenings to do a lot of damage, first strike is very important. But in this case, maybe not so much. But in some cases, if you have first strike and you take out 90% of their troops on the opposite side of the battlefield, then when it's their turn, they only get to attack with those remaining troops, so you don't get hit very hard. Of course, the next time comes around, you still have to kill those troops, so it's kind of a not so great to have first strike, but it's definitely better than going second for the most part. Now, okay, enough of all that. Here is his gear. He has +2 on a Titan sword, +1 on the flame armor, +4 on the Genesis helm, a meteorite, and diamond earring. So he's got meteorite, which is the basic legendary for airships, and he's got a Titan sword, which is, I think it's a basic legendary for infantry, but it's not great. These aren't as good as the airship weapons I'm using. So that's something worth factoring. Doesn't have a lot of bonus damage. I think he has bonus crit and maybe a little bit of crit and accuracy. He's got a flame armor, which is basically the same as mine, so that's a wash. And he's got Genesis helmet 4 and diamond earring 3 +6. Diamond earring 3 is dodge, but he loses defense and HP, and then Genesis helm +4. I don't know what the stats are on that, but you can estimate it's probably around 20-25%. So in total, he's probably got about 60-70% dodge. So gear-wise, he's ahead of me in dodge. He has a troop advantage on me when he's using infantry versus my air. He's got 2 different types of troops, but so that means he can only trigger his 20% guaranteed hit skill. That's what Alexander has. He's Flare. He does have a skill that lowers my dodge or lowers my accuracy. I forget. One of those things. But his 20% is a guaranteed hit. Mine's a guaranteed hit. I have higher damage weapons. He has a different balance of troops, but he has the troop advantage, and he has first strike. So I said, you know what? Let's bet each other who's going to win and how many troops they're going to lose. So go ahead in your mind right now. Think about this fight. I'm marching into this with all Tier 2 air and or mage air, and he's going to be defending with half air, half infantry. You've seen my gear, you see his gear. We basically have the same dodge. We basically have the same defense. I have much higher damage, but he has a little more accuracy, and he has a balance of weapons, and he has the troop type advantage. But I also have a few more troops because he lost some troops in the front row. So what's your bet? What's your bet? Do you think he's going to win? Do you think I'm going to win? I can tell you right now, with the amount of dodge we have, 60% is kind of a coin flip. We actually are going to be able to hit each other without having to rely on the guaranteed hit skills most of the time, I think. So my initial bet was I was going to win. Oh, I'm sorry, no. My initial bet was I was going to lose, and he was going to lose all of his air front row and about half of his infantry in the back, but he'd still win. That was my guess. His bet was about the same, but in reality what happened was slightly different, and here's what we factored in wrong. So let's go ahead and watch the replay, and I will show you how even the best of minds with the most knowledge can still not calculate everything correctly. So my critical hit chance is actually very low. I have 14% there, but I actually get a minus from that stat there, and I don't have any other buffs on. So I think my total chance to crit is like 10 or 20% right now. It's very low. So I lost 110 tier 2 air, which is the about, that's about half of my airships. That was about half of what I sent. Him, on the other hand, he lost an entire back row of infantry and 2 rows in the front. So a very strange battle. It wasn't like I mowed him down or he mowed him down. There was definitely something weird that happened. So let's watch the fight. Miss. That's concerning, right? Okay, here's a Zeal. Guaranteed hit, and I land a hit, and it crits. Not only is it a 1 in 5 chance, but the chance for me to crit is also 1 in 5. So there was like a 1 in 25 chance that I could hit and crit, and it happened in the first turn, so I totally wiped out his front row, which was unexpected. So that's why this fight goes kind of crazy. But that happens when you have 6 turns in each round. So the time goes on, the misses. I lost 30 units there. So there's a heal. My exorcism gave me 1 back. I had 10 missing, I got 1 back. Here's another exorcism, but there's no troops to heal. Exorcism is a heal. So he is base hitting me. See, he's got the accuracy. He is hitting my front row there. And I keep triggering my heal. Oh, there's a guaranteed hit, but I did not crit. So I didn't wipe out the whole row. So here we go again. Miss. This dodge gear is really playing a bigger role than we thought. Now here's a guaranteed hit. Boom. I knocked out almost half with that guaranteed hit. So both of us are really strongly relying on our guaranteed hit. And as I say that, he lands a regular hit on me. So now remember, my guaranteed hit has the chance to trigger every time I have an airship attack. His guaranteed hit can only trigger when he's using infantry, because his commander only triggers off infantry troops. So even though he has the advantage on me, only half of his troops have the advantage, and the other troops are equal to mine, and they're not getting any bonus skill. So he's really not getting a lot of value out of those front troops. He's really relying on the value from the back row, and my dodge is enough that it's causing him trouble. So as we carry on into this, you can kind of see I am down the second row here on his troops. I'm almost to his ship. So I had a couple unfortunate hits there, and I could have got lucky and broken through there, but I've already been pretty lucky in this replay. So here comes a guaranteed hit. Now I'm going to break through. Now he's available. Now he's vulnerable. I can actually hit his ship now, and he hasn't even broken my front row yet. And I've already gone through the middle down the column of him. So, but you could tell the other 2 rows in his, I just didn't get lucky on those triggers, so I never got to break him down. So this fight actually ended a lot sooner than maybe it should have. And then he lands a hit on the back row there. His back row lands a hit on my front row. But now he's missing again, see? So like I said, it's a bit of a coin toss. He doesn't always miss. He does mostly rely on that blade 20% guaranteed hit skill. But anyway, I like the idea of this concept. You go into a fight and you kind of know what you have, you know what they have, and by thinking about what your major strengths are and what their major weaknesses are or whatever, you can kind of start to gauge so you know how to fight and play better, because that's why you watch this channel, right? You just want to learn to play better. In this simulation, we're talking about tier 2. Nothing of major value was lost, right? We didn't get zeroed, or we didn't lose a whole week's worth of farming of an army size. We're just testing and simulating so we understand, because this translates perfectly to tier 5 and tier 7 in fair fights. So I think this knowledge is good to have. I hope you guys like this video, because I think it's really useful. I need to come up with a name for this thing. So as this replay goes on, think of a name. What should we call this? The War Room Simulator? Should I never do this again? I don't know. I like the idea. I thought it was a great little replay. It was a very lucky replay, but that's because we're at a very weird place in the game right now where our dodge isn't fully maxed out, our damage isn't fully maxed out. I mean, he doesn't even have bonus damage items. Now, he finally broke my front row. But that was a good little fight. It was unexpected, which is strange. It's hard to get unexpected fights in just Tier 2, but that's what happens. You get 2 20% guaranteed hit skill commanders and a lot of dodge gear. You could get lucky crits and lucky hits. So I bet if we ran this 10 more times, it would probably be a little more balanced out. I think I probably would still win because I guess we'll go to the conclusion of this video and say, here's what happened. So, yes, I got lucky on my hits and crits, definitely. But yes, I got lucky on my crits, and yes, I got lucky on my guaranteed hits where they triggered. I don't think my overall 20% trigger rate was, exceptionally high or low. I think it was pretty average. But it did trigger on the slots I needed it to win the fight down the middle. I'd rather win right down the middle than, take a beating and have a long drawn-out fight where we're both trading more and more troops. Because at the end of the day, you usually want to win a fight. Troops are usually worth more than winning and losing. So basically what happened here was I had a ton of damage, right? I had 80% bonus damage, 15% guaranteed crit or bonus crit. Now, I did lose some crit and accuracy there, which hurt, but I picked up that dodge, and that was enough dodge that his airships were not hitting me. He was only getting 5% accuracy on his airships there, or his mage airship, same thing. And then he was getting a debuff to his HP and defense because he chose the dodge thalamus that actually hurts his other defense stats. I chose the dodge thalamus that hurts my other offensive stats because I'm going to rely on my crit on weapons and my guaranteed hit to make up for the accuracy and crit. So in other words, I use my guaranteed hit skill for accuracy and I use my revival for crit. So I can sacrifice it here. Him, on the other hand, he's paying HP and defense on his infantry, which are already squishy, so he's all in on that dodge gear, which makes him even more squishy when my guaranteed hit skills land. It's a give or take. I wouldn't say one is better than the other. It's just a preference thing. But his weapon, his main primary weapon, was a Titan Sword, which is a basic legendary. Really wasn't doing much for him there. It's better than having nothing, but really not doing much. So that's why the battle was so one-sided. That's why I was able to one-shot his troops. That's why he wasn't able to one-shot my troops. But I thought that was a good little simulation, and I don't know, maybe I'll do more of these. I'm just I like the idea. I'm throwing it out there. If you like the idea, give it an upvote. Give me a comment below what you think we should call it. I know that the X-Men had like a simulation war room that they kind of would plan fights out in. I don't know. What should we call this thing? The war room? I like the war room. It sounds good. I don't know. That's it. Thanks for watching. Peace is bad for business.